Hello, BookTube. I've got some mail for you today on an absolutely beautiful Saturday. Just lovely, clear sky, dry air, bright, warm temperatures. The day is going to top out at 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And the beauty of the day is enhanced by the fact that it's the last such day for a solid week. After this, we get what I've referred to on this channel as a cheat wave. A heat wave here in Boston is 3 consecutive days where the daytime high temperature is 90 degrees Fahrenheit or higher at Logan Airport. And that allows you to say, oh, I lived through the heat wave of, the second week of August in 2025 or whatnot. But there's no term for a cheat wave, for a solid week where the temperature doesn't quite reach 90 every day. And that's what's going to happen. Tomorrow is going to be 89. Monday's going to be 89. Tuesday's going to be 89. Wednesday's going to be 89. Thursday's going to be 89. Friday's going to be 89. So that's going to superheat the pavements. That's going to make dog walking all but impossible. It's going to mean that anything of any longer length that we do is going to happen at dawn or at dusk, which are not good times for the baby bean, who's shadow vision, night vision was bad. It's always been bad her whole life. It's been bad. Mine is better than hers, but it's getting worse. So she gets awful jumpy and doesn't really enjoy the experience. Maybe dawn would work, but also it's going to mean no open windows. It's going to mean cranking air conditioning. My 2 old, weak little AC units are going to be chugging away the whole time. It's going to mean that the places in Hyde Cottage where that AC cooled air doesn't reach are going to be pestilential. It's going to mean no cooking. And that's coming up. That's tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be 11 degrees hotter than today. So we've been taking full advantage. Yes, baby. We've been enjoying it out there, looking around the various neighborhoods for Frida's mailman, who has treats in his bag that she likes very much. And I've been getting a lot of work done. It's just a beautiful day, and I have an older dog who's not had the easiest year in 2025. So there aren't a lot of demands to get up and run around or play or go for walks outside. Those demands, in my lifetime, the answer to those is yes. Always, yes. Always, yes. No matter what. Always, yes. I'm not criticizing anyone here. I can't save them all. If you give your dog a roof and food and occasionally water when you remember and medical care until it gets too expensive, if you give your dog a small suite of basics like that, well, okay. A lot of dogs, millions of dogs on this planet don't have that. So I'm not faulting that. I'm not faulting anybody. If you do that, well, you're doing more than... To me, it's extremely sad for a dog to ask to play or ask for more exercise than they're getting and simply blandly be told no because they're being kept as a slave in the household rather than as a member of the household. To me, that is very sad. So I don't do that with my dogs. I guess that's the limit of what I should say. We take a lot of freedoms from dogs. And the number one, if you're a responsible dog owner, being the ability to come and go as they please. And they're only here a limited amount of time. They're here very little time. So the combination of those two things means that if they have a request of me, the answer is yes. The subtle little heartbreak of watching a dog get older is that the requests start happening less and less often. So we've been enjoying the day, just sort of hanging out together. We'll go on another long walk once the sun right now is really strong. It's only 80 degrees, but it's really strong and there's no shade. So we'll wait a while to go on another one. But in the meantime, packages are arriving here, and also books are arriving here. So I've got a I don't know what that dog digression was about. You all know I'm weird about dogs anyway. I am not criticizing anyone here. I have long since stopped doing that. If you got a dog, if your dog is currently a slave in your household, no one ever pays attention to it. I got a dog. buy dog food. I occasionally remember to put fresh water in the bowl. Sometimes I'll toss a ball for a minute or two, then I get bored, I go somewhere else. I've got my phone to look at, I've got TV to watch, I've got a job to go to. And when I'm doing those things, I expect that the dog will just turn off. It will go inanimate. This isn't true. It's a totally three-dimensional person that you have bought and added to your household. A totally three-dimensional person with their own likes, their own wants and dislikes, their own preferences. And they have no choice in the matter. They're totally dependent on you. And in an eye blink of time, they're going to be gone. Anyway, it's on my mind for a reason that we need not get into. But we do have all I meant to say by it. The message that I meant to say by it is that we've been using the beauty of the day to do whatever activities Frida wants, especially since for the next week she's not going to want those activities, or I'm going to have to curtail them a bit. She might be all gung-ho to go for an hour-long walk outside, but if it's 90 degrees, that's not going to happen. No way. She'd be burning her little tootsies, and it would seriously, seriously endanger her. In a way that she doesn't know, in a way that she isn't aware of it. So we'll have to take precautions when that comes. Maybe that's on my mind, is that I'm going to have to disappoint her in this coming week just a bit. We'll see if I can compensate for that in some ways. But we have some books to look at here. And we have a bunch of packages we can look at as well that we can open on camera, throwing caution to the winds about food for thought. So the first book is an oldie but a goodie. This is in rough shape. I will be its last port of call. This is the Aubrey de Selincourt translation for Penguin Classics of the early books of Livy, the early history of Rome. This is where the Victorians got all their favorite stories about Romulus and Remus and Horatio on the Bridge and whatnot. And this is Livy delving into the mytho-history of the Roman past, of the beginning of the Roman story. Livy decided that he was going to write the whole of the Roman story. Centuries of history. Starts off his account by saying, this is a daunting, enormous task, and I'm not the only one who's ever done it. But he also starts off by saying that writing about the ancient past of Rome is actually relief, considering how horrible things are in the present. He mentions at the beginning of book one, he mentions, I know you readers will want me to hurry on from Romulus and Remus and the rule of the kings and whatnot to the present day, or something closer to the present day, because that seems more real and more vital to you. But I like sojourning in the past. It's comforting. And Aubrey de Selincourt's translation is lovely. It's wonderful. Very conversational. This thing, it has seen better days. This trade paperback will not live much longer, but it'll find a home with me. And then we have something that the Bean and I found at a Little Free Library, in one of the aforementioned long rambling jaunts. We encountered a Little Free Library, and I found a trade paperback of Susanna Clarke's book Piranesi, which is from 5 years ago. I loved it. I praised it. I wrote a review of it and praised it. I'll try to remember to leave a link to it down below to my review. And that Sam Sachs guy from the Wall Street Journal also praised it, if I remember correctly. He loved it. Yes, a high-quality page-turner. Even the most leisurely reader will probably finish it off in a day. But its chief pleasure is immersion in its strange and uncannily attractive setting. And that is true. This is the story of a man who lives in a gigantic world house that has tides running through it and up and down it. And it's a slight thing. It's a fifth the size of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. It's every bit as strange as that book, but it's far more wild, far more whimsical in ways that I actually really liked. I loved it. I haven't read it since I read it originally, so when I saw this, and I won't keep this trade paperback. But when I saw the trade paperback in a Little Free Library, I grabbed it. I'll absolutely take the nudge of fate. Then we have some reissues. These are reissues from Grove Press. We've seen some of these before. I'm so happy that they're doing this. These are nice $20, $17 trade paperbacks of Len Deighton. All the Len Deighton novels, which is great. That is great news. We have an expensive place to die in this trade paperback. We have, I got a care package of some of the later ones. $1 Billion Brain. Those of you born in the 21st century will be a little confused, but this is a computer. That's what they used to look like. They used to fill a room. Have all sorts of vents and bells and whistles and knobs. This thing, pictured on the cover here, is about 1,000th as powerful as the computer you have in your pocket that is your best friend and constant companion. Your cell phone is probably 1,000 times more powerful than that machine. So it'd be fun in its own right to go back to that. Then we have Spy Story. I reread this just recently in a mass market paperback. Very glad to have a nice, sturdy trade paperback. What have we got here? After 6 weeks in a nuclear submarine gathering computer data on Soviet activity, the mysterious, bespectacled spy known as Patrick Armstrong is desperate to return home. But when he arrives in his London flat, it appears to be occupied by someone who looks just like him, and he finds himself propelled into the heart of a conspiracy stretching from the remote Scottish Highlands to the Arctic ice. It's a terrific scene where he comes back home and somebody's already there. He's already there. Then finally, Yesterday's Spy. Dayton is wonderful. He's wonderful to read. I reread a bunch of him for Dr. November, and that just spilled over to me rereading. I haven't done what I'm doing with a whole bunch of other authors right now in 2025. I haven't done that. I haven't done all of them in a systematic kind of way, looking to see how his art is changing, how his tactics are changing from book to book. I haven't done that, although I wouldn't mind. I could easily be tempted to do that because he's really enjoyable. I have yet to read a Len Dayton I didn't like. So those are the books that are already opened, and now let's open some packages together and see what kind of trouble we can get into as you all gaze at my sleeping baby, my sleeping little bean, on her couch cushion, which is also going to be a little untenable in the coming week because that spot in the block of that sunlight is going to be incredibly warm. I have to watch out for her in the coming 5 days because she's still young enough. She's 8 going on 9, so she's still young enough to have a little bit of impulse control problems. So if I let her, she would definitely overexert herself on walks, for instance. She would definitely do that. And the same thing is true here. She would lay in her beloved sunlight until she's panting her head off, which is not good for her. But anyway. Oh, right. Oh, great. Oh, great. Fantastic. Okay, so this is a finished copy. This must be out now. You must be out now. Yes. Are you in August release? No, early September. September 2nd. This is the new Rabi Alameddin. This is his book, The True Story of Raja the Gullible and His Mother. Let's see here. Can we find a description? This is a tragicomic love story set in Lebanon, a modern saga of family, memory, and the unbreakable attachment of a son and his mother. In a tiny Beirut apartment, 63-year-old Raja and his mother live side by side. A beloved high school philosophy teacher and, quote, the neighborhood homosexual, Raja relishes books, meditative walks, and order and solitude. Zalfa, his octogenarian mother, views her son's desire for privacy as a personal affront. She demands to know every detail of Raja's work and love life, boundaries be damned. Nice to know that motherhood is universal. When Raja receives an invite to an all-expenses-paid writing residency in America, the timing couldn't be better. It arrives on the heels of a series of personal and national disasters that have left Raja longing for peace and quiet away from his mother and the heartache of Lebanon. But what at first seems a stroke of good fortune soon leads Raja to recount and relive the very disasters and past betrayals he wishes to forget. How could he leave his mother behind? Who's going to take care of her? Well, it doesn't matter because their life together, that kind of thing would strike you, with another writer would strike you as very quotidian, very boring. But any of you who have read this author will know the magic that he works with that kind of quotidian setting. It's incredible. He's just so good. He's just so good. Actually, now that I realize it, this is a finished copy. So I can take a look at what he looks like. I don't think I've ever seen this author. Oh, I love him. I absolutely love him. This is his author photo. He has bronzinoed himself. Okay, great. All right. Let's see. Let's move on. Oh, I'm going to enjoy that novel. I know I am. So let's move on. Let's keep going here. I want an author photo like that now. Okay, here we have, this is an advanced copy. All right, this is from early November. This is The Predicament by William Boyd. Slim novel, comes out in early November. The second in his travel writer turned reluctant spy, shoulder to shoulder with Gabriel Dax is a travel writer and a reluctant spy. I think I read the first book in this series. What was that one called? Oh, we'll find out. The San Francisco Chronicle said that this stands shoulder to shoulder with the great spy novels of the last generation, which I don't really believe, but that would be Len Dayton, for instance. I don't really believe that, but now I want to know, the San Francisco Chronicle runs book coverage? And if you take the San Francisco Chronicle, I assume it's denuded book coverage, it's like one book mentioned half a year, stuff like that. They don't have anybody good, do they, doing their reviewing work? This time, Dax finds himself implicated in a dangerous conspiracy with global consequences. The date here is 1963 Guatemala. The country is in turmoil with a presidential election looming and a charismatic left-wing ex-priest and trade union leader predicted to win. United Fruits, a giant American corporation responsible for a large percentage of the country's GNP, meanwhile, is not pleased with this prospect. How much of this is going to be accurate? I know these details. Neither is the CIA. No. Amid the uncertainty, Gabriel Dax arrives on orders from his MI6 handler, Faith Green, who has tasked him with assessing the fallout from the election. Okay. Well, so is President Kennedy going to be involved in this book? Upon arrival, Gabriel meets Frank Sartorius, the local CIA agent. Despite Sartorius' genial manner, Gabriel suspects something untrustworthy brewing under the surface. Soon, a political assassination with suspicions of mafia involvement leads to riots, and Dax escapes to Europe, thinking he will finally return to his normal life as a travel writer. The mafia now. Surely JFK is going to make an appearance in this book. But when Green compels him to investigate some shady characters in West Berlin, it becomes clear that an even greater danger is afoot as the magnetic young President Kennedy prepares to arrive for a state visit. Ich bin in Berliner. A gripping novel of politics and spycraft with dramatic twists and turns. Okay. So which was the first of these? Gabriel's Moon. I think we saw that on this channel. Okay, well this comes out in early November. So I will leave it be for a bit. And maybe I'll get to it when I get the finished copy. Let's see here. And buried in new releases to read. Buried in them. And I want more. I want to be more buried. Let's see. Let's see what we've got here. Next, I got an invoice, but we don't need that. Oh, okay. This is from the folks at Knopf. This is by James Tabor, and it's called The Lost Mary, Rediscovering the Mother of Jesus. And this comes out... Ooh, this looks finished. This comes out in September. This will be a $30 hardcover in September. Let's see here. Mary, Mother of Jesus, is the best known and least known woman in history. Mary is not a figure in history. She occurs in literature whose goal is to convince its readers that its main character is a god. Revered and worshipped by millions, she remains a figment of the imagination, an ethereal subject of Raphael's and Botticelli's, bathed in heavenly light, too virginal and pure to move among us. But what about the real Mary, the young Jewish woman and single mother of 8, 5 boys and 3 girls? The defiant citizen of Roman-occupied Galilee who survived one of the most dangerous periods of Jewish history, an ancient Game of Thrones that claimed the lives of 3 of her sons, Jesus and Simon by crucifixion, James by stoning. The historical Mary, there is no historical Mary, whose teachings and courageous example may in fact make her the first founder of what we now call Christianity. Okay, we're definitely going to read James Tabor's biography. Let's finish up here, though. This Mary has not only been lost to us, she has been systematically erased over the past 2 millennia by a theological, cultural, and political program intent on removing her from the human realm and marginalizing her womanhood, her motherhood, and her Jewishness. She isn't real. She's not a figure in history. She's a figure in Gospels. And everything that follows after that was built on those Gospels, whose goal is to convince you that she was impregnated by a god. That is not part of history. That is part of mythology. I won't raise my voice. Although I wonder about that claim about people worshiping her. That seems aimed at the Catholics, I think. In this book, the author corrects the record. There's no record. I was like, I'm a broken record. Laying out the results of his intensive textual and archaeological sleuthing over the past 3 decades. It was mostly cappuccinos. There is no archaeological sleuthing. It was mostly cappuccinos. You want to tell me what it was like to have, a nice brunch on a hot day on the Mount of Olives? Go right ahead. You didn't do any archaeological research about a mythological character. Including new evidence regarding Mary's genealogy, which may be hiding in plain sight in the New Testament. It is not. Tabor's quest for the historical Mary offers a transformative... There is no historical Mary. She's a figure in mythology. She has sex with a god. Offers a transformative perspective on Jesus and his early followers and recovers the nature and essence of earliest Christianity. All right, let's find out who James Tabor is. A retired professor of religious studies at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. What a school. Oh, man, that is great on its own. But his bio goes on. Where he served as department chair for a decade. Well, Stockholm Syndrome took place, obviously, because he swapped his scholarship for zealotry. His previous 10 books include the international bestseller The Jesus Dynasty, The Jesus Discovery, and Paul and Jesus. I knew his name. I knew it from Paul and Jesus. Over the past 3 decades, Tabor has combined his study of ancient texts and field work in archaeology, and since 2008 he has been co-director of the acclaimed Mount Zion excavation in Jerusalem. And his work has been featured in dozens of major magazines and TV documentaries, and he lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, all right, great. The Lost Mary. All right. Mary exists in a few mentions in the New Testament. That's it. That's it. All this subsequent to there takes as written what is mentioned in those few mentions in the New Testament, and that's it. That's all. No mentions anywhere else. No historical information anywhere else. No archaeological record anywhere else. Just that. Just a few mentions, a couple of passages in the New Testament, and that's it. And all the stuff that follows from there, and the early church fathers, the medieval church fathers, all the rest of it, all the Mariology that follows from that is based on that and nothing else. As how could it not be? Since a teenage girl who has sex with a god is a figure in mythology, not in history. Anyway, let's move on. I don't want to degenerate into shouting. Let's move on. Let's go to this next package here. One of these big white envelopes. Usually the opening of these things gets Frida's attention, but she's obviously looking at something else. Oh my God, look at all this paperwork. Why do you have so much paperwork here? Oh God, help us. I don't need this much paperwork. Oh my God, it's just page after page of blurbs. Okay, let's get rid of those. So we don't need those. Oh, all right, this is the finished copy of something we've seen already. This is out already. This is by Sarah Stewart Taylor, and it's called Hunter's Heartidge. I actually enjoyed this. Now I have the finished copy, so maybe I should write about it. Let other people know I enjoyed it. Sarah Stewart Taylor is known for her critically acclaimed literary police procedurals, and now in this sequel to her book Agony Hill, which I did reread. We saw that on this channel a couple of years ago. Detective Frank Warren and his formerly CIA-connected neighbor Alice Bellows returned to investigate the death of a federal judge set in Vermont in the 1960s. And this is a $30 hardcover that is out now, and I really, really recommend it. It is very intelligently done. Stop. I should write about it. All right. Well, I've got it here. So, and I don't think I have the advanced copy anymore. So I'll put it on the hopper to prowl over tonight, maybe for a review. It's been too long since I wrote a review on Open Letters. And then finally, we'll end with a box. A nice box we can end with here. Boxes are always good because they are often finished copies and often big finished copies, which Steve wants. Steve very much wants those. Let's see here. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, this isn't a finished copy. This is an advanced copy from the University of Chicago Press, and this comes out in November, but it is big. I wanted this. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Fantastic. This is a new translation of the complete Noteworks of Camus, translated by Ryan Bloom. hope that the end result doesn't look like this. That's pretty bad. It's, maybe not. Maybe some of you like it, the yellow and black. Let's see what this is. The first complete translation of Camus' personal notebooks written between 1933 and 1959, including new material never before published in English. So what was the little mass-market paperback of Camus notebooks that I read back in the 60s? Some of you read it too, I'm sure. What was that? So that wasn't complete. I don't have that anymore. I'm pretty sure I don't have that anymore. But I'm not imagining it, am I? But anyway, throughout his career, French philosopher and writer Camus kept a series of notebooks that offers an unrivaled glimpse into the writer at his most personal and reflective. These notebooks contain his thoughts on politics, solitude, personal failings and regrets, his travels, and his relationship with friends and rivals. They also provide insight into his process as a thinker, his frustrations, his ideas for novels and plays, his routines, his aspirations, and his self-recriminations. For Camus devotees, there is no more intimate experience than reading these notebooks. On the one hand, his fallibility is on full display. Not full display. Video, you'd need video for the 50 cigarettes a day. That's his fallibility on full display. But you can read something about it here. He is irritated by mediocrity, frustrated with his health. Yeah, no doubt, you're giving yourself lung cancer. Plagued by insomnia, and miserable about life's petty necessities. Okay. I'm not going to harp. I've been harping all through this video. Let's just keep going. Yet he is also intensely curious and observant, sometimes moved to rapture by landscapes and people. Readers will experience the bounty of his philosophical imagination and will witness firsthand how his ideas take shape. The notebooks contain drafts of letters to friends and recorded reflections on the compromises of being in the world demand. This is the first time the complete notebooks have been published in one comprehensive volume, and they are translated by Ryan Bloom with extensive footnotes contextualizing the entries. Amazing. Amazing. Fantastic. And Ryan Bloom, it looks like, has also translated a lot of Camus. So he's familiar with the man's rhythms and whatnot. I'm really curious to know about the antecedents to this. Am I imagining a little paperback of Camus' notebooks? Oh, wow. Oh, this is thoroughly analytical. Okay, great. Well, then, so this will tell me. Obviously, there's a long introduction here, so this will tell me if I'm imagining things or not. Great. Camus notebooks coming out in November. Wow. So I'm going to get cracking on this. I don't usually do that. We're in early August. This is early November. I don't usually do that, but I'm going to get cracking on this weekend. Well, not exhaustively, not in detail, but I want to start making my way in here. Like, for instance, tonight, while I'm rereading Hunter's Heartidge, and what was the other one? Right, Raja the Gullible. While I'm reading those things, I will also read at least the introduction to this new notebooks thing. There's a long introduction. I can at least read that before I get into the notebooks and soak them up. Great, fantastic. All right, well, we ended with a major thing. It's not just an interesting thing, it's a major landmark in literature and translation. So that's great. So we've got the whole gamut here. So I'm gonna wrap this up for now. I've had quite enough of me, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.